We grew up too fast. Not because we wanted to, but because the world wouldn't wait. They told us the internet would connect us, but somewhere between the screens and the silence, we lost connection with ourselves. Every scroll became a mirror of who we wished to be, not who we really were. We were the kids who watched dreams die in high definition. The news became noise, and hope, just another algorithmic suggestion. 2025, the year everyone said the future would finally arrive. Flying cars? No, just flying anxiety, carried by a generation that forgot how to rest. We grew up during lockdowns and layoffs, during the rise of AI and the fall of attention spans. They said we could be anything, but the truth? We can't even decide who we are. We learned to multitask our pain, study, scroll, cry, repeat. Our therapy was a glowing rectangle at 2 a.m. Our best friend, a stranger with the same sadness in their bio. We post motivational quotes we don't believe in. We chase productivity like it's a personality. We call exhaustion grind culture, and loneliness independence. We're tired of pretending we're okay. Somewhere along the line, ambition stopped being a dream and became a debt. The price of success? Our peace, our sanity, our youth. You remember when growing up meant freedom? Now it just means bills, burnout, and the background hum of disappointment. We look around and realize everyone's pretending to have a plan. But under the filters and the hustle, there's a quiet ache no one talks about. That feeling that maybe the future isn't broken, maybe we are. We were told education was the key, but the lock keeps changing every year. Crypto, AI, recession, automation. We study one thing and the world moves to another. We're running on a treadmill that calls itself progress. And love? Don't even start. Love has become a contract with fine print. Terms and conditions may apply. Hearts are disposable. Attention spans shorter than a TikTok clip. We ghost people faster than we process grief. We laugh too loud online, cry too quietly offline, and sleep with our phones like they're the only thing that won't leave us. We mistake validation for love, and views for worth. But somewhere deep down, there's still that kid, the one who believed in something more. Remember that kid? The one who thought kindness could change the world before the world convinced them it couldn't? Now we scroll through tragedies like they're trailers. Another war, another disaster. We cry for a second, then swipe to the next dance video. Empathy has buffering issues now. Still, there's a whisper beneath all that noise. A voice inside saying, it wasn't supposed to be this way. But maybe that's the beginning of something real. Maybe realizing how lost we are is the first step back to finding ourselves. We grew up too fast. But maybe, just maybe, growing up means admitting we want something slower, something simpler, something true. And maybe that's our rebellion. Not the noise, not the hustle, but the courage to pause, to breathe, to say, I'm tired, but I'm still here. This is not the end of the story. This is the echo of a generation that refuses to disappear quietly.
You know what's strange? The more connected we are, the more alone we feel. We live in a world that talks all the time, but listens to no one. We've become experts at pretending. Smile for the photo, cry in silence, post, delete, repeat. Our emotions are content now, cropped, captioned, and algorithm approved. We dream in filters. We chase virality like it's victory. And in the process, we forget what it feels like to be human. Remember laughter without a camera? Remember silence that didn't feel awkward? Remember being bored? We don't get bored anymore. We get anxious. Every second, there's something new to chase. A post, a reel, a notification. But no matter how much we scroll, we can't escape the feeling that something's missing. Because it is. We lost depth. We replaced conversation with commentary, intimacy with irony. The world rewards noise now, not meaning. And when meaning fades, everything starts to feel temporary. Friendships, dreams, even ourselves. We swipe through life, treating people like playlists. Next, 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 until there's no song left to play. But what happens when the music stops? When the likes don't come? When no one's watching? That's when it hits, the quiet truths we've been running from. We're scared of stillness, because stillness forces us to feel, to face the questions we've been avoiding. Who am I without an audience? What do I stand for when no one's looking? Somewhere deep inside, we crave something real. But we've forgotten what real even means. Is it the version we post, or the one that cries at 3 a.m. when everything feels too heavy? We say mental health matters, but we whisper it like a secret. We wear anxiety like it's fashion. We joke about depression because being honest feels dangerous. We are the generation that laughs through pain, that masks emptiness with memes, that calls trauma relatable content. We've normalized numbness. And yet we still hope. We still hope. Because even in our exhaustion, there's a small voice whispering, maybe tomorrow will be different. But hope without healing is just noise. And healing requires honesty. It requires slowing down, looking up at chaos we built, and asking ourselves, was this worth it? The jobs that drain us, the content that distracts us, the race that never ends, was any of it worth losing ourselves for? Sometimes I think we're not really living, just existing between deadlines and dopamine hits. We've mistaken motion for progress, and we wonder why we feel empty. But here's the truth. Maybe the system was never built for our happiness. Maybe it was built for productivity, for profit, for performance. And we fell for it, one achievement at a time. We forgot to dream without deadlines. We forgot that joy doesn't need to be monetized, that worth doesn't need to be measured, that silence isn't failure, it's freedom. We keep saying someday, as if tomorrow will finally give us permission to live. But tomorrow never comes. It's always waiting, always just out of reach, like happiness behind a paywall. So maybe this is it, the breaking point. The generation that has everything except peace. And maybe that's the truth we've been avoiding. We built a world that rewards speed, but punishes stillness, that celebrates perfection, but forgets compassion. We wanted to change the world, but the world changed us instead. And now we're left wondering, if we've already lost something we can never get back. But maybe this story isn't over yet. Maybe realizing we're lost means we're finally ready to start finding our way.
We thought growing up meant freedom, but what it really meant was realizing that freedom costs everything. The kids who once dreamed of changing the world are now just trying to survive it. And in 2025, that's the cruelest truth of all. Every morning, millions wake up, scroll through news that feels like déjà vu, wars, layoffs, climate collapse, a new app that promises connection but only deepens the void. The lost generation isn't lost because they don't care. They're lost because they cared too much, and the world didn't care back. We chased perfection on screens, chased approval in algorithms. We traded laughter for productivity. And somewhere between deadlines and dopamine, we forgot how to feel human. Our parents told us to work hard. Society told us to smile. But no one told us that life would feel like this, like a constant race with a finish line keeps moving farther away. The world told us, you can be anything. But what if all we wanted was peace? We were taught to dream big, but punished when we did. We were told to speak up, but silenced when we tried. And when the noise got too loud, we learned to whisper, even to ourselves. Look around. Everyone's pretending to be okay. Friends post sunsets, gym selfies, motivational quotes. But behind every smile, there's exhaustion. Behind every "I'm fine," there's a silent scream no one hears. We're the generation that laughs at pain, because crying feels like weakness. We turn trauma into memes, loneliness into trends. And yet deep down, we just want someone to say, I get it. It's not that we hate the world. It's that the world forgot how to love us back. We grew up too fast because we had to. We saw too much, too young. We learned about loss before we learned about love. We learned about death before we learned how to live. But here's the part no one talks about. Even in all this chaos, there's something quietly beautiful. The way people still hold the door open for strangers. The way someone still checks if you got home safe. The way small kindness survives even when everything else is falling apart. Maybe we are the lost generation, but maybe being lost isn't the end. Maybe it's the start of finding something real. Because if there's one thing our generation knows how to do, it's rebuild from ashes. We've seen systems crumble, dreams die, hearts break, but somehow we still show up. We still create art when the world feels empty. We still laugh, even when it hurts. We still dream, even when it feels impossible. Maybe the future doesn't need to be perfect. Maybe it just needs to be honest, raw, human. So yes, we grew up too fast, but maybe that's what made us different. Maybe that's what made us stronger. And maybe, just maybe, when the history of 2025 is written, they'll say this was the generation that refused to give up, even when the world had already given up on them. Because deep down, we still believe. Not in the system, not in the promises, but in each other. And maybe that's enough. This is our story. The story of those who grew up too fast and finally learned that growing up was never the goal. Living was.